Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Jumping straight in here with the first topic, which is OpenAI has launched a free app of ChatGPT for iOS. Android app is coming soon, but nonetheless, this is a free way for people to access ChatGPT directly on their phones without needing to download something like Microsoft Edge. The app works on both iPhones and iPads, and it'll be rolling it out in the US first with other countries to follow. Now, the big deal here is this is going to be the first time an AI like this is widely available easily for everyone. This is kind of the big deal here with having a mobile app come out for the service. Now, this will sync your history across devices and bring you the latest model improvements from OpenAI. Now, ChatGPT can be inaccurate, but this is, well, it looks like this will mostly be just the chat functionality you expect on their website. This is something that could potentially take over. Maybe you don't need a browsing app anymore, especially if you can do things like use ChatGPT Plus on here. So with that, the app's launch is interesting considering ChatGPT is like kind of weirdly positioned in the market with where it's currently at, where it's only available on their site or in Microsoft Edge with the way that Microsoft wants you to use it, but it has rapidly found a consumer audience for those willing to cheat on college essays, business applications, and in February, they released a premium subscription for the app. And again, if you can use the premium subscription, and even if you can use plugins with a subscription on a phone, especially with the latest update where it's going to be able to use the live internet, blah, 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 this is going to be. Why would you use a regular internet browser if you could just use ChatGPT? Not that it'll be always right, but not that all the articles you find when you search things are always right anyways. Now, again, Microsoft's Bing app has kind of been the best way to use this service currently because it's the only way to kind of lively use it on the web, but it's fairly restricted compared to the website. And yeah, bringing a mobile device is going to really change how people interact with this. This will also help with just spam bots, fake apps that have been put on the platforms, and it'll be interesting to see how people end up using this because as of right now, only having one place to use it is kind of sucks unless you use Microsoft Edge. But also, this will be fairly interesting to see if you are somebody who uses Microsoft Edge. Is this going to make you stop using Edge? Because why wouldn't you just pay for the subscription and have full access to ChatGPT where it can do way more than on Microsoft? But we'll have to wait and see again. I feel like every topic I'm like, we'll have to wait and see. And with news like this, it's almost always we have to wait and see what happens with it. Rimac, new Nevera, is that how you say it? Breaks the record for record breaking with 23 in one day. Now, that's pretty incredible. Now, to be fair here, this car is quite expensive. It's EV, it's fast. Rimac builds EVs. And I love the green and black they went with here for this vehicle. It looks sweet. But basically, including rocketing from a standstill to 400 kilometers an hour, 249, and back to zero. So all the way up from 0 to 249 miles an hour, back down to 0 in less than 30 seconds. Now, that is wild how quickly it's able to do that. Slowing down that quickly is arguably more impressive than actually getting up to that speed. Now, electrics can't yet take down gasoline fire monsters like the SSC Tuatera in an outright top speed challenge. Electric motors, extremely powerful. Once they hit their limit, they're kind of at it versus an engine. You can kind of keep pushing it compared to an electric vehicle, but you have less power throughout its, as you get farther up, you lose more and more like torque and stuff like that. Now, the Model S basically is amazing at doing this as well, and that is more of a family sedan versus a performance hypercar. But let's do this. The Nevera hypercar has a 1,914 horsepower engine motor, which is pretty insane. Now, the performance kingpin of the EV world is Rimac, if you were wondering, and it holds the top speed for a production EV which is 258 miles per hour, and smashed the production car quarter mile by nearly a full second on debut, which is wild. I believe the car that held that before was the Model S, or maybe the new Roadster. The new Roadster is actually something that could contend with this, which will be fascinating to see. Now, basically, there is a company that managed to break 4 of Rimac's acceleration records, but it did so using Rimac's motors. So, like, I guess it counts. But let's see here. The records that were broken here were pretty much all speed records. This car basically can insanely accelerate. And as you can see here, I'm not really sure how these are all read out, but I'm not really sure how to read racing or car things. But basically, all you need to know is it won in basically all of these. According to Rimac's press release, it now holds the title for most performance records broken in a single day. It effortlessly smashed existing benchmarks, running again and again under full throttle conditions without a single reliability issue or any significant loss of performance. Indeed, it even beat its own spec sheet, smashing the 0 to 60 mark in 1.74 seconds, where Rimac had advertised 1.85. Now, that is incredible. I kind of wonder if these are 2 different measurements that were going on. But nonetheless, some of these things are incredible. I don't know what most of these mean in kilometers an hour, but that doesn't really matter here. So standing mile from 0 to 100 is 3.3 seconds, which is astounding. From 60 to 130 is 2.99. This 0 to 200 is where the Model S, and we'll see what the Roadster is capable of, but would probably get smashed as of right now. Again, difference in a hypercar versus just a family sedan. So here's just a short, we're not going to watch this whole thing, but a little bit here of the Rimac accelerating. And you can see, I mean, this thing grips and flies. It is incredibly fast. And some of these metrics at the bottom here are pretty interesting. So you can see the speed here in the bottom left, the power we're using. Not sure what SOC stands for off the top of my head, but the throttle's at 100, brake is at 0. I kind of want to see this guy slam the brakes and just see what happens here when he hits them. Look how little he's having to adjust for anything right now. But yeah, incredible what this car is capable of. Braking 100%, and man, that thing stops quick. These must be 2 different ways of measuring. But yeah, these are insane numbers to put up with a car, and it's great to see that Rimac's trying to beat Tesla out with something. Next up here, we have ads and continue to cite. Why? Now, the main point here is just, how can I continue without supporting us? Jesus. Done using your website after this. This is a bad article, too, it looks like. Anyways, main article here is Elon Musk embraces advertising at Tesla, which is wild. If you don't know, Tesla's been the company to always go, nah, it's not worth it. Advertising, it's cool. It's not really us. We're not doing it. And they haven't. They have not done it up to this point. Traditional advertising has not been something they've done. Now, it sounds like they want to start doing that. Now, this could include the billionaire himself on TV or online. I think what's happening here, and I don't want to be that guy, but I think what's happening is Elon's doing this to be able to advertise on Twitter. And it's one of the ways he can supplement Twitter's spikes that have occurred and downfalls by using Tesla to invest in advertising on the platform. Now, this did seem to boost shares about 4.4%. We'll see what happens. Now, he did say we're going to try it out and see how it goes. I kind of think that Tesla or just Elon himself has been big enough news to easily hit all of the people that you could possibly market towards for electric vehicles. And other than not making a traditional style truck, the rest of their line is pretty all right. So, I don't know if this is really going to do much for them unless they start offering better incentives to buy their cars. But we'll see. We'll see what happens if they actually end up doing this. It's pretty incredible to see him wanting to do this. Again, I think the big reason why is you had a bunch of advertisers pull out of Twitter. Now, you've had some say they're going to come back with the new Twitter CEO. But I think he is also like, I gotta fund Twitter somehow and get some money in my pockets on that side of things. And this is one of the ways you can do it. If you show that you're willing to put your other companies into your other companies, well, that looks good to advertisers, so why wouldn't you do that? Now, last year, Musk touted the company's $1 trillion valuation with 0% or $0 in advertising spent on Twitter, which is a wild feat. It's completely wild that that was possible. Now, if you're Elon Musk, do you attempt to do something memorable? Now, you have the famous 1984 commercial for Apple's Macintosh computer, and only aired during the Super Bowl. There's tons of ads you can think of that are just memorable ones that ended up being bigger than just an ad. And this is something that Elon would probably be pretty good at doing, and we'll see what happens. Now, this is basically the announcement to do more traditional advertising. Tesla did spend about $151,947 on advertising in the US in 2022. So they've started actually doing some. Like I said, I think they've hit the saturation of Elon to Tesla ratio, and now there's people that just don't care to pay attention to tech at all, don't have any super techie people in their life, and this is the only way you're going to be able to access them. So we'll have to see what happens. It's pretty incredible what car companies do spend on advertising, though. So now, by comparison, Ford and Toyota Motor Corp spent $370 million and $1.1 billion, respectively, while the brands of General Motors collectively spent just total of $1.35 billion on U.S. ads last year. Holy crap, that is way too much. It's incredible to think they make enough money where they can spend that much on ads. GM last year spent $4 billion globally on advertising and promotions, while Ford spent $2.2 billion on advertising, according to U.S. regulatory filings. Insane to think that you can make that much money where it's worth spending $2.2 billion on ads. I mean, that's incredible. I don't think Apple probably even spends that much on ads, but car companies are out here making ways. It doesn't shock me that some of these U.S.-based companies are. That's just what the U.S. has gone towards, is advertising to that extent. Next up here, we have a topic that's going to be kind of short and sweet, but it's good to see. Logitech has partnered with iFixIt for self-repairs. Now, this will be for only 2 models of mice starting out. The MX Master and MX Anywhere models will be the first products to receive spare parts, which you'll be able to get on iFixit's platform. Now, no pricing information has been disclosed yet. Logitech hasn't mentioned any other devices that could potentially make their way here, but iFixIt will receive the genuine replacement parts, which is great to see, as right to repair has not been established in a lot of states yet, and a lot of countries yet. It's great to see that companies are starting to do it on their own. Now, does it suck that they're not going to sell you a new mouse every time you break yours when you missed your shot and slam your desk with your mouse? Yes, but you can also make probably just as good of money if you sell enough replacement parts, which, not saying you should want to sell a bunch of replacement parts, but it is a way you can make a little bit of money for those users that really would like to just repair their things and do it. iFixIt is a great company from my understanding, and they've worked with brands like Google, Samsung, and Valve to create similar self-repair programs. I'd love to see companies do it on their sites as well. Partnering with iFixit's great, no problem with that, but it'd be great to see them. There's no reason you have to partner. You could also do it on your own sites. That said, iFixIt does make pretty great tutorials on how to fix devices. They offer all the tools you would need, and getting the parts there as well just makes sense. And it's great to see these companies starting to get in top of that. Next up, everyone knows that Meta has been on a rough streak. They have put all their money into VR and AR and the metaverse. And it's not gone particularly well recently for them, and maybe it's something that in the future will actually go on to do something useful. Now, with that, we have a new video Meta shared that's about 1.5 minutes long, so we're going to watch it, and they've partnered with BMW for this. And other than that, it's kind of wild. So as you can see, the car is basically going to be scanned into your vision, into your goggles, and when you put your goggles on, you'll be able to interact with your environment in the car. which is fascinating. And I don't know. This is cool, and I don't know why. Now, you can see the car is able to position the glasses, see where they are in the car. This dude's wearing them right now. I don't have audio because I do this podcast very jankily, but you can see here in their newer BMWs, they're hoping to partner with Meta on putting these glasses on. And what it'll allow you to do is when you look at your environment, it'll be able to interact with that same environment. And let's see here if we can get to the interesting part, because our boy Zucky was in here too. As you can see here, though, let's back up a second. Wait. So here's what the glasses look like. Now, these look very similar to Snapchat's glasses. They're obviously a little thicker. They got 2 cameras, but concept's pretty similar. And the fact that they're making them this small is also pretty incredible to think about. Now, you can see the car is mapped out here for the glasses. You can see the glasses are mapping the area around them using the camera. And then you can play games. So here is like a... Whoopsies. Let's see here. Here is basically... I don't know why they call this a research demo. So you can see like sound waves up top. This looks like Flappy Bird, but with a plane controlled with your hand. Cool way to play. You'll look pretty weird in the back seat going like this the whole time, but I guess someone must want that because they're showing it off. I believe this is a new BMW with driving features as well. And the other cool thing you'll be able to do with this, I don't know if it's in this video. I thought I saw another video of it. But basically, it'll project your directions out in your glasses if you're wearing them. As you can see, here's someone playing a game. That's the same game we just looked at, but controlling it with their hands. Now, what I really hope is, I swear I saw my boy Zucky on here. Maybe it was a different article. It was a real article I saw, but this is just Facebook's posting of this. Now, this is super cool and also a super weird starting place to see this. Now, I think the goal here with Meta is they're trying to do more consumer AR and VR, which then this seems like a more reasonable place to start. But it seems like it'd be more helpful in a factory where you could be looking around, it's telling you how to build the thing or showing you an exploded view when you look to a certain area. Things like that seem super helpful. This seems more, depending on the price, gimmicky even. I mean, even if it's like $300-400, I don't think a lot of people are going to pay for these glasses. That said, it could help Revenite, with hands-free communication being required and stuff like that. This could be cool. Also could be cool just to... Yeah, I got nothing. I'm going to be honest. I got nothing. It's cool. I mean, it looks cool. It's cool that it puts, like, your controls here on the pillar and you can look out the window and play. And other than that, it'd be cool if you could see your map. If you're the driver, if you can see, what your next turn is, where it is, what the road name is. Just, AR in that sense. But there's a lot of cars that already do that just right on the windshield. So why do you need the glasses is kind of the question here. Next up is Wendys will test having robots deliver your food through tunnels. So Wendys is just trying weird stuff, I guess. Now, AI chatbots will be what you order in the drive-thru. So ChatGPT will take your order, and then they will have essentially an underground robot delivery system. But what I am picturing every time I hear this and see this is that basically when you go to the bank and you go to the drive-thru and you put your deposit in the tube and it shoots it around, that is what they're doing with your food here, basically. But they're calling it robots. And they'll fire their entire staff to have ChatGPT run everything, which is fantastic to see. I mean, these futuristic stores are cool. I wonder what the cost to make your money back ratio is on a store like this, where you're going to put in this probably $1 million system plus have a ChatGPT subscription to some AI. Maybe not ChatGPT, but another AI. And that's going to have to pop out your food and take your orders. Probably get it more right than a lot of drive-thru people, but nonetheless, I guess that's something that's going to be happening soon. Next up, kind of a big one here. TikTok has been talked about being banned in the US for quite some time, and hasn't happened yet. We haven't seen it happen. We've seen things start to kind of get rolling, and then they kind of disappear. But Montana has actually decided to just nope. So this law will take effect in January 2024 unless TikTok is sold to a U.S. company, I believe, or a court blocks this rule. Now, I could see a court blocking this because it kind of takes away their freedom to operate, and to ban it in a state first is going to be kind of hard when there's no other states doing it. No one else is taking this level of action. But basically, the first ban of its kind in the United States will be TikTok. TikTok has become a weird... It's the first time we've seen a company like that's not building physical hardware kind of get shunned out, and they've been the big target of doing that as well. Whether it's warranted or not, now, yeah, if you read their privacy policy, it's pretty terrifying, but also there's a lot of those that are pretty terrifying, just nobody reads them. Just when you're in the spotlight, unfortunately, you get all the heat, and people at the end of the day have a choice to use it or not based on if they believe that if they're worried about their private data. Now, basically, it'll prevent TikTok from operating within the territorial jurisdiction of Montana, and basically the app will have to be removed from app stores for Montana residents. So that means people like Apple, like Google, will have to remove it from their stores in those states specifically. So basically, I'm not sure exactly how it worked, but based on your location data, it just won't be available. Makes you kind of wonder will it go off of your account location? Like if you have your billing address in there, is that what it's going to base this ban on? Or if you drive across the border, can you now have access to it? Well, we'll have to wait and see how that really works out. But with that, it's fascinating. It's finally happened. We'll see where this goes. We'll see if it makes it January. We'll check back in on this and see if it actually went through or not. And lastly here, Tesla has basically talked about their new facility. Now, the next gigafactory location, this should not be shocking to anybody, is probably going to be in India. Now, India makes sense that they went to China, where you have a large population. It's way cheaper to build things there, blah, blah, blah. It's a good place to build a factory. Europe made sense as well. You need to make cars where you're going to deliver them. It's really expensive to ship them from the US all the time. And what's the next giant population that would be great to put a factory at? Well, it's India, and that's also where everyone else is currently moving all of their factories out of China and to India. And so why wouldn't you jump on that bus? And that makes sense to see Tesla do that. Elon has already been pretty aggressive on the tariffs and stuff like that with India and the US. It sucks. It's not worth it. And apparently now those plans are back in action, and we'll see what happens here with with them moving here. And my camera died. I just went blank for a little bit, but the video's dead, so that's fine. But that's pretty much it for this one. It's just India is probably Tesla's next gigafactory, and I thought that battery was going to last way longer. But with that, thanks for watching this episode of the podcast, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.